Murder in the Crest, Part 2. Actually, why don't you go send them away and I'll get to them after I review the scene?
Nagee ended before turning his back and walking toward what was left of the victim.
Hours later, Nagee approached Jenny Bryant, who stood in front of her home. "Jenny Bryant," he asked, pulling out his notepad.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
I'm Detective Nagee.
"I understand you heard something last night. Can you tell me what you remember?"
Sure. I live in the apartments right behind Rich's.
"Oh, do you mind if we go up?"
Please, I need some coffee.
She agreed as the two went up to her apartment. After making a cup, she began her story.
Okay, so last night, I got off work at Lestat's around 3 a.m. and went straight home. I was in the shower when I'm pretty sure I heard someone yell, "Stop, Skylar."
"What time was this?" Walter continued to jot down notes.
I'm not sure, like after 3, probably like 3:15. At first I thought it was just people being loud. You know how it can be around here on weekends, especially this one. But then it sounded like 2 guys were arguing.
"Did you see anything?" Jenny shook her head.
No, I didn't look out the window. There's always something going on out there. Plus it stopped pretty quickly, and all I heard was the loud-ass bass from Rich's. Not that I'm complaining. I know I live behind a club, but it does get annoying.
"Okay, so you heard someone say a name. Do you know anyone named Skylar?"
No, not really.
"All right, thank you, Ms. Bryant. Your information is very helpful. If you remember anything else, no matter how small, please contact us." Jenny nodded and walked away as Walter finished jotting down his notes. Once he was done, he turned his attention to the next witness, Melody Figgs. Nagee walked over to Melody, who was across the street working in her bar a block away. The place was packed with people as she struggled to go back and forth between customers behind the bar, almost seeming relieved when the detective took her away. "Sorry, I know you're missing out on your tips. I just needed to speak with you. I'm Detective Nagee, by the way. I understand you saw something last night. Can you tell me what happened?"
I was out drinking with friends after my shift, like we usually do, right? I got off at 2 a.m., and we went to a couple of places before I decided to head home around 3 a.m.
"Where were you exactly?"
So I was walking to my car, parked on Vermont Street, near University, right? And I was on University and had just made the left to get on Vermont when I remember seeing someone running out of the alley. They seemed really scared too. I honestly didn't get a good look at his face, but it caught my attention because he looked like he had blood on his pants.
"Can you describe the person you saw? I mean, anything you remember?"
It was dark, but he looked like a tall, thin guy, and I think he had blonde hair. He was moving fast.
Okay. Do you happen to know anyone named Skylar or anything like that?
Yeah, I only know one personally in San Diego, and he's kind of a dick.
"Oh, is he from the area?"
I'm not sure where he lives, but he's out here a lot. He works right at, I think, Flick's as a bar boy, but he's super rude, like a diva. Why? Does he have anything to do with this? Actually, I only saw the guy from the back, but he did look a lot like Skylar.
"Did you notice anyone else in the alley or anything unusual?" Walter asked.
No, it was pretty quiet, just that guy running. It seemed strange until I saw all of this on my way to the store this morning. I'm a little hungover.
A little later, Walter sat at his desk and opened his laptop to begin digging deeper into the victim. Mario Alvarez Jr. was a 32-year-old successful lawyer, originally from Riverside but living in Hillcrest. He worked at Legal Lifestyles, a popular law firm downtown that specializes in civil family matters. He had a boyfriend named Brian Kalemi, who was last seen with him the night before on Saturday at a bar named Flick's. Mario's last known location was Rich's,
The bar next to Flick's.
Later that day, Walter was able to get Brian in to talk. The detective walked in to find him seated in the interrogation room looking exhausted and distraught. The hours of waiting had taken their toll, and Walter sat across from him. After signing a few documents, Brian put down the pen in his left hand and the two began.
Mr. Kalemi, I appreciate your patience. I know it's been a long day.
I can't believe he's gone.
His eyes were watery. Walter leaned forward and his eyes were watery. Walter leaned forward and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry for your loss. I understand this is difficult, but I need to ask you a few questions to help me understand just what happened. How long have you and Mario been dating? And you live together?"
Right, and about 3 months. We met at a mutual friend's party and just hit it off.
Was he wearing anything noticeable?
Just the outfit from the pictures. Oh, and this watch I gave him for his birthday a month ago. It was a Hublot. Pretty expensive, but Mario was worth it.
Did you two have any arguments recently? Brian shook his head.
No, we got along really well. Of course, we had the usual disagreements, but nothing serious.
And what do you do, man?
Oh, I work as a legal apprentice at a law firm in Mission Valley.
Oh, okay. Could you walk me through what happened yesterday?
Okay, we woke up around 7 a.m. and decided to grab something at Breakfast Republic in North Park. After that, we went to the parade, had a great time, and spent the day drinking and celebrating at a few bars. Urban Moe's and others. Anyway, we left at about, I think 8 to go home and change, then headed back out at 9 p.m. to Baja Betty's for dinner. He likes their quesadillas.
What happened after dinner?
We went to Flick's after I believe 11. Everything was fine until about later, I think 1:30, when we ran into one of Mario's exes.
What's his name?
Skylar.
The detective perked up and asked, "Does he, Skylar, work at a bar called Flick's?"
Wow, yeah, how'd you know? Do you think he had something to do with it? That would make sense.
Why do you say that?
I mean, he and Mario got in a big fight. You didn't know that?
Really? Nagee said, shaking his head.
Skylar was drunk. Well, we all were. But yeah, so he started yelling at Mario, and we got kicked out.
What was the fight over?
Just 'cause Skylar was mad, I guess, that Mario had moved on.
That he had moved on with you.
Yes, me.
So, did you know Skylar personally as well?
No, never really had any relationship with him.
Alright, did the fight get physical?
Oh, yes, Skylar is very violent. He scratched Mario's face multiple times. Even got me a few times on the arms when I tried to break it up. He does his nails. I'll admit they are nice.
Okay, so you get kicked out. Then what happened?
I mean, I was a little annoyed. I admit, because we really were having fun, and it was an embarrassing moment. So I wanted to call it a night and go home since it was already pretty late, but Mario wanted to stay. So we argued about that for like 5 minutes until I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm heading home and tried to go to sleep. We don't live far, just near 5th. So I walked. Anyways, I started texting him after 3 because I couldn't sleep and his phone was off. I finally went back out to look for him and walked around for about an hour, but still couldn't find him. So I went back home. I thought maybe he went to an after party with friends somewhere. Anyway, the police woke me up when they came knocking this morning and told me he was dead.
Brian looked down, putting his face in his hands and sobbed. Walter made detailed notes, then looked back before saying, "You mentioned Skylar. Do you think he may have had anything to do with this?"
Oh, I don't know. He was really mad and seemed wasted already. They let him get away with that since he works there, I guess.
Walter closed his notepad and stood up. Thank you, Brian. You've been very helpful. You can go home now, but don't leave the city, man. I'll probably have more questions for you.
We've got to get in touch with this Skylar, Nagee thought, as he sat back at his desk. Officer Davis came in shortly after and said,
"Detective Walter got news.
Go ahead.
So I know you've got more than your share of suspects, but we've got 2 more leads for you. One's in custody and the other we're looking for. I think they could be on to something."
Who are they?
Well, the one in custody is this racist bitch. His name is Billy Wilson. Got found hiding in his truck last night after putting a brother in the hospital. He was in the area at the time. Got you set up in an interview with him if you can find the time tomorrow.
Okay, who's the other one?
Everett Elks. Our officers are familiar with him. He's a homeless man known for causing trouble. They say he was out there last night too, and was seen near the alley. I know he was there earlier because we got complaints of him harassing people. We're working on finding him.
"All right, let's get that done and schedule me with the races tomorrow around 10, cool?"
Got it.
The next day, Nagee sat in the interrogation room as Wilson was brought in. Name? Nagee asked.
"You don't know my fucking name?"
"Okay, first of all, you will watch how you speak to me."
Boy, you ain't got the fucking right to tie my shoes. Just dusted one of you off last night anyway. Lucky I'm in cuffs or you'd be number 2.
Walter took a deep breath in. Mr. Wilson, speaking of the man last night, care to explain what happened? You're a 41-year-old straight man in Hillcrest on Pride Night, and cameras caught you all over the area. You've got a more than violent record. Already spent years total in jail. We looked on your social media, and you obviously hate anyone that's not white. Why'd you do it?
Hell, you seen what happened? Nigger faggot got what he deserved.
So you attacked him because he was black and gay?
I ain't know he was gay at first. That just wound up being the bonus.
Attack anybody else last night?
Maybe.
That's interesting because your cell phone records place you at the scene of a murder.
Was it a nigger that got killed like you?
Billy, I'm only going to give you one chance.
You're already going to jail or prison for putting a man in intensive care. Did you attack a Hispanic man as well? Tell me now, and it'll look much better for you. I'm giving you a chance.
You ain't got to give me a damn thing, 'cause I don't want nothing from you.
Billy slouched back in the chair. Did you kill a Mexican man in an alley last night?
I did whatever you think I did. Matter of fact, if a nigger or spick was killed last night, pin it on me. I did it. If I could kill all you motherfuckers, I would. You know, come to think of it, I remember hearing about the hotshot spick that got killed last night. Boys were talking about it in Holden.
Yeah, so it turns out you were picked up shortly after the murder, less than a mile from where it occurred. I understand they found you hiding in your truck parked in a lot. Why didn't you go back home to Santee?
'Cause I didn't fucking want to. I ain't accustomed to answering questions coming from you boys. We about done here?
Can you describe the Mexican man you killed to me?
You know what? No, I'm done talking to niggers. Get me a white in here.
Well, that ain't gonna happen. I'm all you got.
Well, I guess fuck it, 'cause I don't want you.
I guess so, Walter said before leaving Billy as he stared at Walter walking away. Was he telling the truth? He would need solid evidence. Either way, he'd have to remain in custody for the beating. After putting him back in lockup, Officer Davis came back.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you we found Everett. You'll never believe what he had on him. A nice watch. It's the same that Mario's boyfriend gave him. Same serial number and everything. The same one he was wearing that night, which obviously shows he was in the area. We asked him about it and he said he found it. We asked him where, and he wouldn't tell us. You want to get him done today, or wait?
Shit, had I known that, I would have seen him first. Let's knock it out the way.
All right, I'll get him now.
Nagee sat back at his desk, reviewing the notes he had taken from his interview with Brian and had already arranged to speak with Skylar. He had also discovered that several cameras and witnesses saw Everett coming out the alley early that morning. He had been brought in another room and reeked of garbage.
They ain't let me shower,
he said as Walter entered. Ah, don't worry about that, man, he replied while taking a seat. Everett, I'm Detective Nagee. Do you know why you're here?
I ain't kill nobody, man. I just found that watch.
Yeah, I heard. The problem is, it belonged to a person that was killed. So I'm trying to find out how it got from his wrist to your bag in the span of hours. I'll be honest with you, man. We've got plenty of visual evidence that you were in the area. Tell me exactly what happened, Walter said, leaning forward.
Man, I thought he was sleeping. I was just walking round, you know. It was early in the morning. Most of the people had gone home, you see. Then lo and behold, I see this man look like he was sleeping laying in the alley. I ain't tried to wake him. I just saw that shiny watch sticking out, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I took it. I ain't hurt him, I swear, sir.
You expect me to believe that you found a man sleeping in an alley and decided to steal his watch, not expecting him to catch you?
I don't know what you gon' believe, sir. I was watching him for a while. About 5-10 minutes, and he ain't moved, so I thought he was strung out or something. Easy lick. But, sir, I ain't killed nobody. Please believe me.
Well, it shows here, right here, you were threatening people on Saturday. Both in Hillcrest and Balboa Park, ruining days, saying you were going to kill him. Why is it always something with you, man? You sure you weren't high or anything? Maybe you don't remember it.
Oh, no, sir. I'd remember that. I ain't know he was dead till you told me.
Well, either way, man, I can't let you go. You just became the primary suspect. You was going to end up going anyway because you took the watch. You know that.
Yes, sir. I know that. I just want you to know I didn't kill that man. I know I done did a lot, but I ain't never killed nobody.
Well, regardless, your test came back positive for a variety of drugs, many of which affect the memory, so we'll have to take that into account. So look, Everett, we're going to keep you here while we gather more evidence. If you're telling the truth, it will come out. But for now, you're under arrest for theft and suspicion of murder. Everett's shoulders slumped.
Okay. Just, please. I didn't do it.
The next evening, Skylar finally was able to come into the station. Even though Everett was being looked at the most closely, there were still many unanswered questions about Mario's ex. Skylar Olson sat in the interrogation room as Nagee walked and took a seat. Mr. Olson, Mr. Popular, finally. You're a hard man to get a meeting with. Glad to see you could make it. I'm Detective Nagee. We spoke on the phone.
I just need to ask you a few questions about the events of Saturday night, yeah?
Let's start with your relationship with the victim. I assume you've heard.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for your loss, even though you weren't dating anymore. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we dated for a while, but things got complicated. He started cheating on me with a bunch of guys, including Brian. That's how they got together. I found out, and we got in this big fight and broke up. It was drama.
Wait, so he was cheating with Brian when he was with you?
Oh, you didn't know that? I guess his boyfriend didn't tell you. I'm assuming you talked to him too.
Okay, so I understand you guys got into a physical altercation at your job on Saturday. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
What was it about?
Well, I had gotten off work and changed in the back office, so I was partying with a few regulars, and then I see Mario and Brian drinking near the back bar sitting by the owner. Oh God, I was so mad. Okay, I admit I shouldn't have gone over there, but I did. I mean, the fucking nerve to come to my job, the same place you met me, and show off the boyfriend you cheated on me. Like, what the fuck?
So, you think he was trying to get you upset?
Honestly, I don't know. I just didn't think it was appropriate, so I thought I'd let him know. Anyways, I guess things got out of hand, and he said some things, and I got a little aggressive.
What kind of things?
No, he just told me that I'm a loser for coming up to him and making it awkward, and I should move on and all this shit, but I'm like, you're the loser for cheating on me and bringing the same guy to the place. You know, I work. Like, you already hurt me. Now it was like he didn't care how I felt.
Okay, so what do you mean that you got aggressive?
I mean, I got in his face and we started fighting.
Did you attack him first? The camera shows you slapping him. Skylar looked down for a second before back toward Walter.
Maybe I don't remember. It was just too much going on then. Plus, I was so mad and had already taken like 3 shots.
I see. So what happened after the fight?
They got kicked out. My boss told me I could stay.
So they left and you stayed?
Yeah, but not for long. We had a house party to go to right after.
Where was the house party?
Right around the corner from the club, at another barback's house on 10th, right by the freeway.
Around what time?
I don't know, bro. I think like 2:30 or something.
Did you leave for any reason after, or did you stay there?
Yeah. I left to get a Gatorade. I knew I'd need it in the morning.
Okay, because we don't have you leaving the house as far as cell phone records.
Oh, yeah, it's because I left it. I needed to charge it, and the store wasn't that far away.
All right, did you go anywhere else?
No. After I left, just went back to the party. It was wild.
Save me the details, brother. So you left the party, picked up a Gatorade, and went straight back?
Pretty much.
Oh, no, Skylar. I don't need a pretty much. I need it for certain.
Yep, went straight back. Next thing I know, I came into work Sunday, and literally everyone's talking about what happened.
And what did you do when you found out?
What could I do? I was just shocked. I mean, I felt bad, of course, but kind of caught me off guard. Guess I'm still kind of processing it, you know?
Oh, I gotcha, man. There's still some other things that need to be addressed. Walter pulled his seat up closer as he maintained eye contact. See, man, I've got multiple witnesses saying they either saw you or someone that looks an awful lot like you at the crime scene. Not to mention they heard your name being called.
Sir, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but you can ask everybody at that party if I was there.
That still doesn't explain your whereabouts when you left.
Dude, I was gone for like 10 minutes.
That's not all you have working against you. Where did you actually go to get the Gatorade?
Dude, I went to the liquor store like 2 blocks away, on University.
Alright, calm down. The Serval? This was less than 3 minutes walking from the attack, Walter thought.
I don't know what that is.
It's the name of the liquor store?
Well, yeah, that one. Is that it, dude? 'Cause this is just...
Actually, a couple more things, man. Don't worry, this is the most important place for you to be right now.
Yeah, not to me.
Well, so I've seen the pictures of what everyone was wearing, and I know you had red nail polish on. A little ironic since that's the same color polish we found on Mario's face.
Yeah, well, I guess that would fucking make sense, wouldn't it, since I told you we got in a fight that night.
One of the witnesses said they saw somebody that looked like you. How do you explain that? Skylar threw his head back and rolled his eyes.
I don't know, bro. I told you where I was. Not sure what else you want to know.
Just the truth, man. Mind if we take a look through your phone? I like to look around your place if possible as well. Anything helps, just to clear your name if nothing else.
Then you need a fucking warrant. Actually, I'm done. I feel like I'm being bullied, and I want to see my lawyer.
Walter took a deep breath in before exhaling. All right, he said, standing. You can leave. You know if I need to. I'll get that warrant, he ended as Skylar sneered and left the room. After he left, Walter made a point of following up on the witnesses. He learned that Melody was known to get carried away with her own drinking from time to time, and even had a previous relationship with Skylar, in which the two got in an altercation months before. It was regarding a night at Flick's as he worked. Witnesses said that she felt she was being ignored by him because she was a woman. Anyway, a big argument ensued and she left with her friends. This throws a huge wrench in her testimony, Walter thought, relaying that info to the captain. Aside from that, Nagee continued as he sat across from Cowler in the plaque and metal-adorned office, I found a few more people to look at.
Jesus, Walter, there's more pieces than a fucking chessboard.
I know it, sir, but I just found out about some interesting texts between the father and victim, and Mario's co-worker, and he apparently had issues.
The hell. I knew lawyers made enemies, but this is ridiculous. Do you really feel it's necessary? We've already got Wilson, who already admitted to the murder, and Everett's ass had the fucking watch on him. It's already been well past 48. I'm almost at the point of telling you to toss a coin and let the DA sort it out.
I understand, sir. I'm almost there. Just a few more clues I need to figure.
I get it. Do your job. You were always good at it. Just know a promotion's coming up shortly after we get a conviction, most likely. Already spoke with the people up top.
Thank you, sir. I'll be sure to update you, he ended, standing up. The next day, Nagee sat across from Mario Alvarez Sr. Mr. Alvarez, thank you for coming in.
Sure, yes.
All right, man. So I came across some text messages between you and your son Mario.
Could you tell me about your relationship with him?
I thought it was good. But you know, I guess I was wrong.
Where do you live, Mr. Alvarez?
Oh, in Riverside.
So I went through your son's phone and it shows you were arguing the night before. Then you told him that you were going to take a trip the next morning on Saturday to speak with him in person.
Actually, I think your exact words were, I will beat the dulce out of you, marico. Something like that. What was that about? Sorry for the pronunciation.
My friend, my son's boyfriend sent me pictures.
Pictures?
Si cabron of them.
I'm not sure I'm tracking. Do you mean Brian?
I don't know no Brian. The boy was skinny and had short yellow hair.
Was he Asian or?
No, white. He was white.
Okay, I think I know who. Do you still have the messages?
Si.
Mr. Alvarez pulled out his phone and showed it to Nagee. There were explicit text message images sent from Skylar's phone showing he and the victim engaged in sexual acts. The images were sent the Friday before the murder. It was Skylar. They were sent from a blocked number. Interesting he failed to mention this. Must have been when they were still together, Nagee thought. And he sent you these?
Yes, on Friday.
And how did you respond?
I tried to call the number, but no answer. I tried to text back, but no could. Then I call Mario and tell him.
What did you tell him?
I tell him what happened and that I'm disappointed and that I want to see him.
Why were you mad at him if it was someone else that sent it? Mr. Alvarez's face turned red.
He tell me he have girlfriend.
Walter was shocked.
I say, why you with man? You say you with woman. He say I'm ignorant and stupid and he no want to talk. I say, okay. Then he hung up.
Is that when you texted him that you would come down to beat him up?
Amigo, I just wanted to talk to him. I was mad. I just want to see why he lied.
Okay, so when did you arrive in San Diego?
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, around what time?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was, about 11, 12. Yes, I think it was one of those.
Okay, and I see here you were texting him that you were at his apartment.
See, I went to his apartment.
How did you know where he lived?
Daniela, she told me.
Oh, his mother told you.
See.
And you two live together in Riverside?
No, she live in Pomona.
Okay, so you're not currently together, but are on talking terms.
See, yes, we fine.
Okay, well, I already know you didn't just want to talk to him based on the texts. Where are you from originally, sir?
Guadalajara. We moved to L.A. when Mario was very young. I didn't want to hurt my son. I just want to know.
Well, you found out and you went looking. Where did you go after?
I go to the parade.
Well, how did you know where he was?
When I went to my son's house, he know there, but neighbor tell me.
A neighbor told you where your son was and that he was at the parade.
See.
Well, I see you couldn't find him and kept texting and arguing with him, threatening throughout the day. You even said that you would kill him.
No. I was only mad. Senor, I always wanted grandchildren. We only have one child. He lied to me. I did not want to hurt my son.
That's not what the text read. He even had to block you later that day around 7. But I see that you were in the area early the next morning. If you couldn't find him and he blocked you, why were you still in Hillcrest?
I don't know. I wanted to talk to him. Maybe I could find him.
I see. And what time did you finally leave to go back home?
In the mañana. It was late, senor. I was very tired.
And where'd you sleep?
I got a hotel in Mission Valley.
Okay, so you were looking for your son, got a hotel in Mission Valley that evening because you were tired, and then went back out after midnight to go look for him again. That's a lot for someone that just wanted to talk. Did you go back to his residence again?
See, but nobody home.
Interesting story, Nagee thought.
Angry man threatens his son, drives to his home 2 hours away, goes to a hotel to take a nap, and then goes back to Hillcrest shortly before the murder to look for him. Got it. No one was home yet. So, Mr. Alvarez, I know you have gone through quite a bit, and my condolences.
See, thank you, senor.
But would you be willing to take a polygraph test?
The lie detect.
Right, the lie detector. We could get you in right now if you have time. It would really help to find your son's killer.
Oh, lo siento. I have to go back to work tonight.
You sure? It won't take too long.
Oh, I cannot because I have work in 3 hours and the drive far.
All right. Well, I really like to get this done to help you out. Is there another day? What about tomorrow? You don't have to come down here. You could do it up there if you need to. Mr. Alvarez was reluctant but agreed to go by the station near his home in Riverside to take a polygraph. Later in the day, Officer Davis caught up with Walter in the break room.
Hey, detective, sorry to disturb you.
Nagee had just learned that one of the victim's co-workers had a huge argument with him on Friday. He was scheduled to interview him that Friday afternoon. Thank God he could get off early.
The press had already caught on and was starting to heat up. Yeah, what's up? Nagee responded.
I've got one last guy that you might want to look into.
Oh, all right. Who is it now?
It's probably nothing. Some guy we found that left some pretty nasty reviews for the law firm. Mario in particular.
People leave nasty reviews all day, man. You know this.
Yeah, but we looked into his email and they seemed a little off.
Nagee looked as well and decided that he was interesting.
Luckily, he was able to get the suspect in that night. His name was Zachary Gobert. He was easily the tallest of all the suspects, standing 6'4". Looked in shape, but Nagee noticed he had a bandage around his right hand. Mr. Gobert, thank you for coming in.
Sure, man. What's up?
What's going on with your hand? He asked as Zach sat down.
Oh, yeah. Went mountain biking out in Hemet with my brother and fell down. Forgot to buy gloves. Kinda dumb, I know.
Nagee made a mental note to check that alibi after the interview. Your brother live here too?
Yeah, I live with him out in Mira Mesa. Well, he and his wife and daughter.
How long have you lived there?
Just since that bitch got the house, so about 3 months. Only until I get back on my feet.
I take it you're referring to your ex-wife? Lisa Gobert?
Yeah, well, we were only married for 7 years or so. Met in college and all that. Worst mistake of my life.
Hey man, I came across a review you left on Legal Lifestyles. Not to mention the firm said you left constant angry voicemails and wouldn't stop calling. Anyway, it seemed pretty aggressive. Actually, let's see if I can pull it up here. Okay, here it is. You said on December 13th. A bunch of fucking crooks. Dude is completely unprofessional and a piece of shit. Fuck everybody here. Now I know why everyone hates lawyers. Oh, and you also email him. The victim, okay, at 2 a.m. a week before. I'll beat the fuck out of you. Why the threats? Zach sighed.
Bro, that dude put me through so much. Mario was my lawyer for a prenup before Lisa and I got married. The only thing is, when I received the bill at the end, it was way more than I had expected. So I'm confused, but was sure it was just probably a mistake or something, right? So I try to contact him, and of course he didn't answer. I call the law firm and tell them there's been a discrepancy.
What was the deal? Let's start with how it all started.
Okay, so I hired him initially to do a prenup since I and Lisa had been having problems. Anyway, I pay for him to get it done, and she changes her mind at the last minute and says that she doesn't want to sign it, or whatever. This is after I already paid $2,000 out of pocket to get it done. Next thing you know, as you can imagine, things got considerably worse between us as time went on. So one day I came home from work and she's sitting on the couch holding her phone and looks sad. She tells me, "I think we need to take a break." I say fine, whatever. We haven't been communicating well to begin with. I agree. A month or so goes by and nothing's getting better. It was like we were strangers in our own house. Eventually, I come to the conclusion of, okay, fuck it. I'm done with all of it, and get back in contact with Mario to start the paperwork for our separation this time. This is where it really gets tricky. So he quotes me at $2,000 to do the paperwork, not including filing or anything like that. At this point, I'm desperate to get things done and familiar with him. I'm like, what's another $2,000 if it means peace of mind, right? Anyway, our relationship...
Yours and Lisa's?
Right, me and my wife. So it gets worse, and I tell Mario to go ahead, finish the paperwork, and file. So stay with me. I know it's a lot.
Gotcha.
Right, so now I have to pay a $7,500 retainer. I'm thinking that's a little more expensive than I thought. I hope I get some money back. So we go to court, and unfortunately, we have to do this more than a few times, since she of course disagreed with everything. Then one day, she says, "Can we talk?"
Really?
Right, that's what I said. So we meet up at a Starbucks, and she basically tells me that, she made a mistake, and that she's so sorry, and that she never wanted to get separated. And I'm thinking, this is great. I mean, I wish I didn't have to spend all this money, but hey, I still loved her,
I understand.
So I tell Mario, hey man, we aren't going to end up getting separated and are working things out. I'd like to end the case. He says for sure, and that the firm will send the paperwork to close it. I'm like, great, we were only in court for like a month or so, so I should end up getting money back. At least, that's what I was hoping.
Kyle stared at the detective.
They send me an email, and it's a bill. But not for $100 or even a couple $100. The bill is for another $8,000 for a few months of deliberation on a separation case. I said there must have been a serious mistake and panic a little as I'm waiting on hold after calling. They said they couldn't give me a good breakdown over the phone, but the billing specialist would be in shortly and they'd leave a note to email me. I'm expecting them to get back to me that day, right? They email me about a week and 2 calls later and said it was not a mistake. So I'm looking at this PDF, everything they did and all that and what they charged me for. Sorry, I'm getting mad just thinking about it.
It's okay, man. Take your time.
Right, so I'm livid and call and tell them that this is ridiculous and I'm very upset, and had I known it would be this expensive, then I would have never retained them and so forth. I ended up having to deplete a large portion of my savings and investments.
Yeah, lawyers have been getting more expensive.
Oh, but wait. That's not the worst. So I pay this BS and go back to live with my brother. I wasn't mentally ready to let her go, so I agreed that we should try to work it out. Soon after that, we hit it off like we never got separated. I mean, man, it was amazing. At least I thought. But everything else is good now, right? I mean, me and Lisa are back together. Sure, we're down a few bucks and might not be able to go out to eat as much, but our relationship matters more, right? 6 months later, I get home and she's not there. I check my phone and she texts me to look in the bedroom drawer. I go in and what do I find?
Walter shrugged.
Fucking divorce papers. And you wouldn't guess which law firm represented her.
Walter already knew that Mario was in the process of representing Lisa at the time of his death, even though he had already had her husband as a client, but was shocked by this new information.
Man, that's messed up.
Oh, I know. Legal lifestyles. And Mario was assigned to the case. I had never been so mad. Yeah, I know it was wrong to write all those emails and send those threats and whatnot, but I felt there wasn't anything else I could do.
Right, but it was still wrong and falls under harassment. You're lucky the firm didn't file a restraining order against you.
Man, let me tell you. I promise, that was the least of my worries at the time.
What do you mean?
My life was destroyed. They took my money. I lost my relationship. It was as if they had it all planned out. Isn't there like a law against representing both of us?
Like a conflict of interests?
Yeah.
Normally, yes, but the time frame matters. Also other factors, I think.
Right. Now I remember when I asked about it, they gave me this excuse about since I didn't finish the original separation case that she could file for divorce or some shit like that.
That doesn't seem right.
I couldn't agree more.
Still shouldn't cost him his life, though.
I agree with that too, man.
But you probably didn't lose too much sleep over it, did you?
Zach exhaled.
Bro, no one deserves that. When I heard about it on the news, I was shocked and couldn't believe it. Then you guys called me, and that's when it really hit. But I swear, man, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Mind if we look through your phone? Anything can help.
Yeah, I've got a lot of personal info and photos on here, man.
So no?
Right. I've just got too much on here.
Okay, no problem, man, Nagee assured him, already making a mental note to get a warrant. What were you doing on that night? I mean, Mario's murder.
Just went out to a bar and played some pool.
What bar?
Oh, it's this bar on University, called The Alibi.
Okay. There should be cameras and people that saw you there, correct? Kyle shrugged.
Should be.
What time did you get home?
It was after midnight. I'm sorry, not sure.
Okay, well look, man, the threats don't look good, but you're free to go for now. But please stay in town. We may have more questions for you.
I understand.
Right after Zach left, the detective called the judge to issue the warrant for Zach's phone. Nagee was tired and needed coffee. He should have been home minutes ago, but there was one last suspect for him to interview.
Nagee sat in their interrogation room,
going over the information he had gathered about the victim's co-worker,
Omar Castillo.
The heated argument between he and Mario the day before the parade had raised red flags. The door opened and Omar walked in as Walter gestured for him to take a seat.
Mr. Castillo, appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, I mean, a long day, but I made the time.
Walter flipped open his notepad. I've been informed that you and Mario had some argument on Friday. Can you tell me what it was about? Omar sighed.
Mario was always stealing my clients. It was frustrating. Every time he'd hear about some wealthy person that just walked in, it didn't matter if I was already talking to him or not.
Why didn't you say anything to him?
I mean, I guess just because he had seniority over me. It was only like a year, but still, and he was well liked.
So the argument was mostly about him taking your clients?
Yes. It had been building up for a while, and I just snapped. We yelled at each other, but it was nothing physical.
Well, your coworkers seem to think that it could have gotten that way. I think they even had to separate you.
Yeah, but tensions flare sometimes when you're a lawyer. There's a lot at stake.
I bet. Where were you on that night of the murder?
What, Saturday? I think I was out.
Out where?
In Hillcrest, but I didn't see Mario or anything.
Why were you in Hillcrest? You have a wife and child. Were you there for business or... I mean, it's none of my business, but it's important to the case.
I'm not gay, detective. I just wanted to get out and have some fun for the night. It had been a stressful week. I prefer going there, just because honestly the people are nicer.
Were you there alone?
Yep.
Where'd you go?
I think the bar is called Gossip Grill. They've got a smoking area.
Gossip Grill. When did you go home, Mr. Castillo?
I don't remember exactly. It was late.
Mr. Castillo, this is a murder investigation. I need you to know it's important you remember your movements on that night.
1:30, 2, I think.
Alright, so we'll need to verify your whereabouts, Mr. Castillo. For now, you can leave, but just in case I've got something else, or you remember something else, make sure you answer your phone.
Will do,
Omar said, standing. Oh, wait. Omar stopped in his tracks and turned back. I forgot to ask, what size shoe do you wear?
10.5.
There was a moment of silence before Walter finally said, Okay, thanks, man, you're good, and Omar left. That was the last of the suspects, 7 in total, and Walter hoped that number wouldn't grow. Not only had Omar had a conflict with the victim and was in the area, but he wore the same size shoe as the print found at the crime scene. Around this time, the dim light of the dining room cast long shadows on the walls as Carisha set the table for dinner. The clinking of silverware against the plates was the only sound filling the quiet room. Keisha sat at the table, her eyes fixed on the empty chair where her father usually sat. Carisha forced a smile as she placed a bowl of mashed potatoes on the table.
Dinner's ready, sweetie.
Keisha's eyes didn't leave the chair.
Is Daddy coming home for dinner tonight?
A little later, honey. Daddy is working on a very important case. Let's pray he'll be home in time to tuck you in.
But he's always working. I want him to be here.
Carisha sat down next to her daughter, reaching out to gently stroke her hair.
I know, baby. Daddy's job is to help people. It's very important work.
Keisha looked up at her mother.
But aren't we important too?
She pulled Keisha into a hug and held her.
Of course we're important, baby. Daddy loves us very much, and he wishes he could be here with us every night. He's just trying to help people and make the world a safer place.
Just as Nagee was about to leave after interviewing Omar, Officer Davis stopped him.
Hey, detective, sorry. And I know it's late, but I've got some new leads.
More suspects?
No, just found out some things you may want to know.
Damn it, man. Can't it wait till tomorrow when I come in? I've been here all day.
It could, but you probably want to know about it now.
Alright, let's hear it. Davis informed Walter of what his team pulled up about the suspects. Turns out Brian had searched how to get back at someone days before the murder. Kyle's relationship with Mario was a little more than he had led on. Mario Sr. failed the polygraph test. Omar lied about his whereabouts and seeing the victim on the night of the murder. And when Skylar bought a Gatorade, he also bought a vape, which he neglected to mention. And the interesting part about that is it's the same type of vape found at the crime scene. Besides the 2 people he already had in jail, the remaining 5 suspects needed to be spoken to again. The next day, Walter's phone buzzed as he sat in the office. It was a message from Captain Cowler asking him to come in. As he entered, Cowler was seated behind his desk.
Nagee, come in. Have a seat. How far have you gotten with this case, Walter? The chief and the mayor are breathing down my neck, and the media is all over this. We need answers, and we need them fast.
I know, Captain. I'm working hard on it. I've interviewed several key suspects and witnesses. I have a few strong leads, but I need more time to piece everything together. The captain sighed, rubbing his temples.
I don't need to remind you how high profile this case is. The public is demanding answers, and the media pressure is ramping up. We need to show progress.
I'm close and will be conducting secondary interviews next. I just received some new information this morning that I need to review.
All right, Walter, I trust you. Just keep me updated. We need to move quickly on this.
Will do. I'll keep you posted, he ended and left. Walter entered as Mario Sr. looked up to him from his chair. So, Walter began, taking a seat and setting down a folder filled with papers in front of him. I'm here to let you know you failed your polygraph test, he concluded. Mario's jaw dropped.